excellent dune-making wind. Most of our wind comes from the southwest, from that direction, so it sweeps across all that valley floor, picking up sand as it comes this direction, just, going, until eventually it gets over to the Sangre de Cristos. And the wind isn't quite strong enough, although it certainly feels like it would be today. It's not quite strong enough to carry the sand all the way over the mountain, so it starts dropping out. We also get an opposing wind from the northeast. It pushes the sand back the other direction. So you have these two winds, and they're kind of fighting against each other, pushing the sand back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, until eventually you get the tallest sand dunes in North America. Now, we have to add in one more factor to make the system complete. Any guesses what that might be?
Water.
The water. There are two creeks. On the north side of the dunes, there's Sand Creek. It wraps around one side. And then on the south side, it's currently dry. There's Medno Creek, and it wraps around the other way. So you've got these two creeks kind of holding the sand dunes like a big hug. So what happens, when the wind blows the sand, and it gets up a little too tall, falls off the back side of the dunes, ends up in one of these two creeks. The creeks carry it back around to the base. Things dry out. Wind comes along, picks it back up, starts the whole cycle over again. So the sand is always moving around in this continuous loop. We've used a weapon like this. I have in this hand a spear, and this piece here is known as an atlatl. The way it works is you hook the atlatl onto the end of the spear, and it extends your arm so that you can throw it further and with more power. And if anyone wants to try and throw it in the wind after the program, you're more than welcome to. Normally, when I offer this to people, it's not quite that windy out there, so it would be interesting to see what happens. There are basically two options for access to the valley. You could go way down south and around the mountains and then come back up, or you could go over Mosca Pass. Have any of you hiked over the Mosca Pass trail? No? Okay. Well, Mosca Pass actually used to be a toll road. That trail, it was a road at one point. And the people who built the station, they blocked off the sides of the canyon so that you had to come through one specific point. And then they started charging people a fee. And they would charge 50 cents for a head of livestock. So if you're moving a herd of cattle, it's going to start mounting up pretty quickly. They charged $1 for a horse and rider, and $2 if you happen to be driving a wagon and team. Now, personally, my grandfather, he fought over in the Pacific Theater in places like the Philippines. The sand dunes, they don't really look like a tropical environment. There were other folks who went over to the desert in North Africa. So we did have quite a few soldiers come over here to train. If you're trying to get a bunch of, young guys ready to go fight off in the desert, it helps if you can send them to your own local desert to get them ready to go. So a very interesting way for a park to be involved in something like that. And it's something that I think most people never would expect to find in the history of a national park. So maybe our stories will be funny ones like that. I don't know. They haven't been written yet. But I hope as you continue your time here at Great Sand Dunes that you have just a really wonderful experience and get the chance to make some excellent stories. And I thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
I personally think vanilla. But I've known other people who think they smell like butterscotch.
I know. Either one. So now I can go back and tell my class why that is. Because as they get older,
They do.
they change color and then they develop the aroma.
I want to say that they have to get to around 100 years old before they change colors, but I could be off on that. I used to know.
Okay. Well, thank you. That'll be good. I can share that with them.
What I didn't understand why English is not so
Okay.
perfect. What was the nutrition, what you told about these pineapples?
Oh, the pine nut is, it's kind of, it goes into like pesto. And it's just a small nut. It kind of looks like a peanut. It's got
From which tree does it come?
the,